Hello, I'm Howard Schechter, and this is Think About It. And this show is structured on the Greek idea of strong body, strong mind, and strong spirit. This segment is about strong mind. We're going to be talking about media literacy. So we're here with Dr. Laura Knight-Lynn, and she is an expert in media literacy. And she is going to talk to us about her take on media production and why it's so important for us to critically think about what we're looking at and what is being shown to us every day. So, Laura, tell us what your take is on media literacy.
I think it's best to think about media literacy in two ways. It's media production as well as critical consumption of media.
Okay, so media production is really like how to produce a TV show.
Right.
So we have trained actors who are journalists in many cases, and we have sets, and we have words that are specifically used. Talk to us a little bit about that.
The media production piece is that, yes, it is produced, and so with the teens that I've worked with some of these organizations, there is, they're taught how it's produced so they can make their own programs, newspapers, things of that sort, and in that they learn critical consumption because they understand this is constructed in that way.
Okay, so critical consumption, we have the production of news and then critical consumption. So how do you teach somebody how to critically look at what is being presented to us in the media? Okay,
well, I think, now Howard, are you talking about when someone is involved in a media literacy program or just every day?
No, just an average person sitting at home watching CNN blast to us every night that the planet is in peril, the planet is in peril, and then going to scenes of glaciers melting and starving polar bears and how do you look at that and say, well, maybe that's not actually what's happening, but I'm seeing it happening?
Well, simply stated, I would say question everything. Question everything you see.
Question everything.
Even it can be an image, but it's an edited image. And why was that image chosen? Exactly what was said, and also what words. There are different words that people can use that can provoke us on an emotional level. And sometimes we're aware of it and sometimes we're not.
And when they produce the news, they test these words? Are there focus groups? They know what effect words have on people and specifically use those?
Yes, yes. And they're using focus groups, they're using psychological research, everything to get you to stay on the program. And also, part of it, if you think about it, is it's a story. If they want to keep your attention, just presenting the wide array of facts and showing both sides of a situation, they feel what's going to keep your attention is a story. Just like if you're going to watch a movie or and what's the more compelling story? And the truth is, they probably feel the less uncertain you feel, the better.
So fear plays an important role in keeping you from changing the channel and not seeing the commercials of the people who are backing the news.
Right.
And who ultimately want a return on their investment in advertising.
Right, and I'm glad you brought that up, because when I talk about question everything, it's also what you see, but also who are the sponsors? Who owns the station? Would they allow or would they support the news, certain perspectives being presented? And so it's really important to question everything, to cross-check information, to try to go to a variety of sources. And I know we're all very busy in our lives and we can't dedicate our lives to media as much as I enjoy that. It's really, though, I think it's when something moves you. When you feel this is an important issue, when you think this is going to affect my vote, this is going to affect what I do, what I support, what I contribute money to. It's very, very important that you take more than Anderson Cooper's word for it, or any other media person.
Bill O'Reilly.
Right, or any documentary, or anything that seems provocative or convincing, is really to see how can I cross-check that information? How can I keep asking until I feel like I've seen the variety of perspectives. And I think another important piece is to always challenge ourselves and always try to be like our own devil's advocate and say, at least, even if I really feel like this is true and this touches my heart, how can I really look at the other perspective?
Okay, so one of the ways that they get to me is through the use of statistics. And I think it was Mark Twain that said, there's lies, damned lies, and statistics.
Right, yeah.
So whenever we hear a big number, like in the healthcare issue, we were told recently that 42 million people don't have health insurance in this country. Now, I know we have about 250 million people in the country, and 42 million sounded like a big number to me. So I dug into it a little to find out what was actually making up that number. Well, as it turned out, the first thing I found was that 25 million of those people were not even Americans, that they were visiting the country, they were on visas, or they were illegal aliens, and we don't have any responsibility to really take care of them via our healthcare system. So you take away 25 million from the 42 million number, and you have 35, 40, so you have 17, 18 million. When I looked deeper into it, I found that 12 million of those were actually young people who were working, who had jobs, and chose not to buy health insurance from their employer because it's just too much money. And they're young and they're healthy, and so they really were taking a calculated risk. So when you take away that number, you end up with about 12 million people out of 250 million in this country actually are the ones who don't have health care, who are entitled to it. So that's about 5% of the population. And yet what we were being presented with was this number, 42 million, that would cause us to want to vote for the candidate that would completely reform the healthcare system and put it under the federal government's control. So statistics can be very confusing.
Right, and another real important thing that you did was you asked why. You have this data, this information of so many people are uninsured. But before you make a decision, before you think about how that's going to affect your vote or what you support, you said, well, but what's behind those numbers? Why? What's the more to the story? And that's a really good example of an issue that's important to you, that you looked into and really got the facts on. So I think it's two things we should think about when we hear information is, first of all, is that true? Is that number true? You know, because sometimes you'll find, you never know. I mean, some people may be saying things convincingly that are totally false. Or you can go and look and say, but why? You know, get into the complexity of it, and then you feel like you can make your decision.